COVID in its second wave was a clear-cut weaponized product that India was attacked with. And there are many ways to explain that, but I'll give you a few examples of why I say that. It's also important to understand why I say that, because I mean, otherwise it can just be a statement without any, basis. So let me explain why I said that. Let's just look at March of 2021, like barely 6 months ago. So you got to now step back and look at March of 21, and then look at April of 21. Just a 35-day, 40-day gap between March and April. In March, if you look at the headlines, all the headlines was India is a beacon of hope, stock markets all-time high, vaccine exporter, India is showing the world how to handle COVID. Strictest lockdown has helped the nation, etc., etc. And please look at and please remember what happened in April of the same period, like less than 40 days. India goes from, and this is what I've written out here, it goes from 10,000 cases a day to 4 lakh cases a day. There are lockdowns imposed by each state, 10 times increase in medical oxygen. It goes from 900 metric ton to 9,000 metric ton. And suddenly from beacon of hope, every newspaper everywhere in the world showcases India as dying. It's breathless and funeral pyres are burning. And finally, we're shown as a failing state. And most important, something that we tend to overlook, from being a vaccine exporter, we end up becoming a vaccine importer. And this is a country, we are amongst the only 5 nations in the world that is producing vaccines. So here, that's what happens in less than 40 days. And all of this happens, and the entire shift happens from beacon to failing state. And I'm just going to show you something. Again, if you rewind and go back to March, you'll notice that the first city to be hit was Mumbai, financial capital. In April, in the city I live in, Delhi, every house had at least 2 members down with COVID. Every house. There is not a single person I know who was not hit by COVID. Bangalore got hit in May. So first the financial capital gets taken out, then Delhi gets taken out, then Bangalore gets taken out. And like I said, we become a vaccine importer. Now, that does not form the basis for me to say that this is a bioweapons attack. But what is important is that 70 countries we were exporting vaccines to, when you stop exporting vaccines to them, where do they get the vaccine from? And the answer is they have to go and plead to China. And which are these 70 nations? The ones that they're at loggerheads with. The same Philippines, the Indonesians, the Taiwanese, the Bangladeshi, Sri Lankans, etc., etc. This entire list of 70 nations to whom India was supplying suddenly has to come at the beck and call and the mercy of the Chinese to ask for vaccines. So, and by the way, I'm going to be talking about this in a little bit more detail in another section, but I just wanted to set the narrative that this was a classic case of a bioweapons attack, certainly the second wave. And remember that the Delta wave was so virulent that we are still the only country which has had the Delta wave in such virulent forms. No one's been able to explain it. Now, the last thing I want to leave everyone with on this particular point, and I don't want to stretch it beyond a certain degree. Only in the last 60 days, if you look at global media, they've really gone hammer and tongs and said, perhaps this is not a natural virus and it is man-made. Perhaps, and the operating word is perhaps, only in the last 60 days. And there's a hell of a lot of media, there's a lot of research available on that. Now I'm saying, even if there's an iota of doubt that this is not natural and could be man-made, I think we are sitting on the cusp of something which is going to have some serious repercussions on the future of how people look at biological wars and weapons.